Remulla is deeply flawed, inasmuch as international humanitarian law, customary law, cannot apply. He is accused of crimes against humanity, not war crimes. IHL refers to war crimes. Procedural administrative matters such as court processes do not become part of customary international law. IHL is international customary law, but the jurisdiction of ICC cannot be considered customary under IHL. The second finding, the Philippine government decided to assist the ICC to arrest the former president. The administration already started preparations prior to March 11. The PNP mobilized units on March 10. The National Security Advisor, Anya, was already tracking the former president's camp before the arrest. Even before the ICC prosecutor applied for a warrant of arrest, there was already statements by key executive officials that the administration will cooperate if the ICC courses the request through Interpol to arrest the former president. Finally, the claim of the Department of Interior and Local Government Secretary, John Vic Remulla, that the supposed group effort was only based on rumor is incredible. This attempt to cover up what was already aired on media and what had already come to pass was an indication of a comprehensive plan to arrest the former president already being in place even before the date indicated in the ICC warrant of March 11. Finally, my third preliminary finding was that there were glaring violations of the rights of the former president. The constitutional safeguards guaranteeing liberty and due process of law were not observed. No warrant was issued by a Philippine court. The arrest did not fall within the exceptions of a warrantless arrest. Meanwhile, General Torre invoked 125 article of the revised penal code only applying to warrantless arrest. The constitutional safeguards for the right to liberty of abode were also disregarded. No court order was issued mandating that the former president be taken out of the Philippines against his will. Former President Duterte was deprived of the right to be visited or to have conferences with immediate family members under Section 2F of Republic Act 7438. General Torre admitted he did not allow Vice President Sara Z. Duterte to visit former president in Villamor Air Base, contrary to RA 7438. Former President Duterte was further denied the right to be brought to judicial authorities under Article 59 of the Rome Statute. The former president was also denied the right to apply for interim release under Article 59 of the Rome Statute or the right to apply for bail under prevailing jurisprudence on extradition. However, during the public hearing of March 20, here at the Senate, the Secretary of Justice insisted on the inapplicability of the Rome Statute. But a DOJ certification signed by Prosecutor General Richard Fadulion stated very clearly that the DOJ made the following determinations. As competent authority of the custodial state, the arrest issued complies with Article 59 of the Rome Statute. To recall, DOJ spokesperson Clavano released a statement last March 13 saying, ang naging role namin ay competent judicial authority. Kami na ang nag-attest na lahat ng proper processes ay ginawa. Similar to Prosecutor General Fadulion, the DOJ spokesperson showed that the article cited in the Rome Statute had been complied with. Therefore, it's apparent that the DOJ first tried to convince the public that the requirements under Article 59 of the Rome Statute were complied with, and then later on, when such stance became untenable, decided to ditch Article 59 and the Rome Statute altogether and pursued another theory, extrajudicial rendition, and invoked RA 9851, particularly Article 17. Yun lang po. So those are the three findings right now. As we speak, we are not certain if we will continue at magkakaroon pa ng ikalawang pagdinig pagkat yun nga, kinakailangan na meron tayong matitindi, magagaling at malaman ng mga testigo. So nagbubuo pa kami kung sakali at kung hindi, pag-aaralan na lamang natin ang nabunyag nung nakaraang linggo. Yes?
Ma'am, yung rate niyo po doon sa timeline ninyo, yung event kung pagkakaalam ni former President Duterte, and lumalabas po doon sa timeline niyo, nag-iba yung tono ng administrasyon as a relationship between the two political parties. sour. Is that accurate conclusion?
You'll have to derive that conclusion. I'm just offering you the timeline. Pero ipinagtapat naman ni Secretary Boying Remulla na talagang nagbago. Tinatanong ko kung kailan nagbago at bakit nagbago at ano yung pagbabago. Sabi niya lahat naman tayo habang tumatanda, natututo at nagbabago ang isipan. Yun lang ang pinaliwanag niya. Pero maliwanag na nagkaroon ng pagbabago. Kaya nga, may nagsasabi na yung Interpol bawal sa kanila mag-issue ng red notice pagkat may duda sila na political. Kaya ang pinalabas lamang nila ay yung diffusion para hindi sila sumabit kasi pinagbabawal ng sariling konstitusyon ng Interpol kapag political.
So, hindi pa sabi na may direct causality between the souring of relations and the change in the law?
Paulit-ulit sinasabi ni Secretary Boying Remulla na may konteksto ang lahat. At sa palagay ko maliwanag na may konteksto na talagang sumasabay sa alitan at pagwawalang tiwala ng dalawang panig. Itong mga pagbabago sa legal processes and our international stand, nagbago rin talaga.
Now that you finished or that you have a preliminary report, ano po yung makikita yung litigation or are you planning your resolution for the second circumstance? Ano po yung dulo dito yung litigation?
Well, ang dulo nito, maliwanagan tayo dito sa ICC. Yung iba nagsasabi na baka dapat ibalik na naman sa NBI at wag daw sa Philippine Center for Transnational Crime ang ugnayan sa Interpol. So may mga recommendations in policy, yun naman talaga ang ating pakay in aid of legislation. At alam din natin na hindi pa tapos to kasi may mga warrant pa na ilalabas. Alam natin na may 5 nang narinig tayo na laman nung ikalawang warrant na mula sa ICC. Kung tama ba ang proseso, or kung hindi tama ang proseso, hindi na dapat maulit. So, importante yon. At syempre, yung mga OFW natin na nasa ibang bansa, nanganganib talaga at natatakot kung dito mismo sa sariling bansa, natatangay ang isang dating Pangulo na may edad na at may sakit. Paano pa raw sila? Kaya nais nilang malaman kung ganon na pinaglalaban natin yung mga na peperwisyo, na kukonvict pa sa ibang bansa, pinaglalaban natin na makauwi, paano ba ang sitwasyon ni Presidente? Ngayon, isa pa, medyo marami pong galit at nananawagan sa akin at tinetext ako, sinong mananagot dito sa nangyari? Kasi hindi naman po pwede na nakalusot ng basta.
Ma'am, ito bang initial findings kung naging basis para tumalas na kayo sa alyansa o dahil sa nakalipas sa dalawang political rally ng alyansa ay hindi na kayo mention ng Pangulo habang bumatok niyo?
Kasi sinabi ko naman na talagang sa patuloy nilang pagbabanggit ng executive privilege, sub judice, ng national security, talagang parang mistulang nagtatago ang ating gobyerno ng mahalagang katotohanan at hindi ko talaga matanggap kaya kinakailangan malaman natin at hayaan na lamang ako na malaya na magsiyasat para malaman ng taong bayan ano nga talaga ang mga pangyayari kung may nalabag na batas at kung ano ang pagbabago or bagong legislasyon na kinakailangan. At tulad ng sinabi ko naman mula pa nung umpisa ng halalan, mananatili akong independent. Dahil higit sa anumang politikal na pakinabang, dapat manaig ang soberanya ng bansa at ang tunay na katarungan para sa bawat Pilipino.
So, wala kayong pag-uusap pa rin ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos ngayon?
Oo, wala. Matagal na yun. Oo.
So, sa inyong minasama ng Pangulo yung pagtanda ng pananhiling sa police ng mga Pangulo?
Parang ganun ang lumalabas na hindi ko naman maintindihan pagkat para sa akin, masyadong naging emosyonal, galit at taranta ang taong bayan. At nakita naman natin naglabasan sa kalsada, nag-iiyakan, nagpo-protesta. Kaya imbis na lumala pa itong sitwasyon na to, minarapat ko na alamin kung ano talaga ang nangyayari para kumalma tayong lahat at maanalisa kung ano talaga ang nangyari. Kaya lang, eto nga, hindi ko naman intensyon na anti-administration yung hearing. As a matter of fact, kung maalala ninyo, halos lahat ng testigo galing gobyerno. Hindi ko naman alam yung mga sagot nila. Kaya nga ako nagtatanong kasi hindi ko alam yung sagot. Malay ko ba kung anong sasagutin nila? Nung hindi sila magkasundo at hindi tumutugma yung mga sagot nila, hindi maganda yung itsura ng pamahalaan, nagalit yata sa akin na nabunyag yun sa aking hearing. Po. Hindi, matagal na kami hindi masyadong nag-uusap, maraming humaharang, matagal na, oo. Nakikita ko lang pag public events, oo. At saka mabilis lang yon, maraming tao, ganun.
Nasabi niyo, kaya nag-conduct ng hearing kasi nga lumalalim yung divisiveness.
Yes.
Pero dun sa naging result ng mas lumalim pa instead na ma-address.
Lumalim ang emosyon in the sense na nakita nila na maraming pagkakamali, at least yung tatlo na binanggit ko na paulit-ulit na rin lumalabas sa social media. Kung tutugusin, very contrapuntal na siya, very anticlimactic na siya kasi paulit-ulit na yung lumalabas pati sa mainstream. Lumalalim ang ating kaalaman at mas lalo tayong nagagalit kasi labis-labis na ang dagok sa ating soberanya. At nababalitaan natin, labas-masok ang Amerika. Kahit hindi EDCA sites, ang katutak pa daw na Typhoon missiles ang pinapasok. Labas-masok din ang China sa ating karagatan at sa West Philippine Sea. Ngayon, dinadampot na lamang ang mamayang Pilipino at dinadala sa The Hague. May natitira pa ba sa bansang Pilipinas? Nakakaawa naman tayo kung ganyan. So, kung lumala, sa palagay ko, lumalim ang pag-uunawa ng taong bayan. I think yun ang kontribusyon. Kasi maski pro Duterte, pro Marcos, hindi na naging partisan, parang lahat medyo nagkaliwanag ng kaunti kahit papano.